So we will be concentrating on the latter part of the book, Critique of Pure Reason, the part of the book that Kant calls the Transcendental Dialectic, in which he has something he wants to prove about what we can say and the limits of what we can say with regard to traditional metaphysical questions. But I said earlier that Kant both wants to criticize metaphysics in the way that the empiricists like Hume and Locke did, but he also wants to preserve metaphysics. That is, he doesn't believe that metaphysics is entirely impossible. He just believes that there is a very limited subject matter that it has. That is, that we can do metaphysics, but only in a certain way. And to understand that, you have to have some understanding of what his entire project is. And I just want to refer to a couple of things, again, I'll give you excerpts from the various prefaces to different editions of the Critique of Pure Reason. Now, here you'll see that Kant, in a way, this excerpt is trying to reimagine the whole question of knowledge, and so he's dealing with epistemology here, obviously. And he's giving us a certain solution to the question of skepticism, and certainly a kind of a solution that is perhaps meant to be more definitive than whatever Descartes offered, because Descartes did offer kind of a solution to the problem of skepticism, the problem of how I can ever be said to know anything, especially when the knowledge that I'm talking about is the knowledge of the physical objects of the natural world around me. And he says this, hitherto, that is, before now, it has been assumed that all our knowledge must conform to objects. That is, that knowledge is when the representation that I have as a knowing subject in some way or another conforms to the way the object, the thing independent of me, actually exists and is in its characteristics. That's what the later philosophers would call a kind of correspondence theory of knowledge, that I can be said to know something when the idea, the representation of it that I have, matches up with the way the thing actually is in the world, when it corresponds to it. Hitherto it has been assumed that all our knowledge must conform to objects. But all attempts to extend our knowledge of objects by establishing something in regard to them a priori, by means of concepts, have on this assumption ended in failure. Which is, in a nutshell, to say that we've never actually been able to establish on this way of thinking about things that anybody ever really knows anything, especially with regard to objects of the natural world. That it leaves us, Kant, I think, would say, in the position of skepticism about whether we can ever have knowledge of anything, that these attempts have ended in failure. He continues, we must therefore make trial whether we may not have more success in the tasks of metaphysics if we suppose that objects must conform to our knowledge. That is, you see how he's turning things around. Knowledge is not achieved when my representation conforms to some independent object. Rather, he seems to be suggesting, knowledge is when some object conforms to my knowledge. Now that may seem paradoxical, in a way it is. But you can see that he's attempting to solve the skeptical problem. He's in a stroke, cutting the Gordian knot.